If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm JClay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect. Perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode. Perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode.
Perfect.
Welcome to Perfect Mode. What up? It's your boy Troy, and I gotta tell y'all. First off, I gotta start by telling y'all that we love y'all. We're grateful for the opportunity to be here, sharing our thoughts, hopefully, and helping you realize that you are perfect. And the reason why I can unapologetically say that is because I know that you are one of one, numero uno. You cannot be replicated, duplicated, and the only reason they would think that they're not perfect if they're looking at the person next to them and saying, I'm not them. But guess what? You are you, and that's all you need. And of course, it's yours truly, Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. And I have my boy JClay, spiritual rapper and teacher. And we about to get on here and jump and talk about inspired action versus forced action, how to tell the difference. And man, you want to talk about hitting me in my chest, inspired action versus forced action. What up, Jay?
Man, what up? Happy day, happy Sunday to all my perfect people in perfect land doing the perfect thing at the perfect place at the perfect time. You're right where you're supposed to be at the right time, ready to just be here and just spread this love and joy to all. First off, real quick, shout out to our Patreons. If you want to support the movement, go ahead and hit that link that's in there right there. Just click it. Then shout out to Jeff, our Patreon. Appreciate Jeff. You. Yes.
What up, Jeff?
And yeah, man, let's jump right into it,
bro. So I'm gonna tell you, when I see the topic, like a million different scenarios go through, a million different ideas that go through my mind. But I mean, the gist of it, inspired versus forced. And I know that a lot of times we talk about doing things that you love to do, and letting that be letting love lead you in your steps. And that's just on the surface. That's what I think about. But where are you at with it, bro?
Yeah. So this is a combination of two things, but it is very similar. So recently, I have this series that I'm trying to pin like these episodes for, and I have a few episodes done. And when I went back and read one, I was like, nah, I could do better. Like I want to get it done. So in some ways, I want to force that action. But I think I was typing it while I was laying down, and I kind of dozed off a little bit. And then in that dozing off, it was like I had a conversation with myself. I was like, no, you should do this. You should do this. You should do this. And it just came, and then the episode wrote itself. It was a great episode. It was better than ever. And that wasn't the first time I've had certain things like that happen where it's like, it's that state between sleeping and waking where you communicate with your higher self and you get this just inspired action. But not only that, on the other side of it too, like I've been coming into contact with a lot of people who are kind of fed up with their job, with their place of work, and they're trying to find ways out of it, and they're trying to force their way out of it. Not force, but like, I got to do this, I got to work more, I got to go harder, I got to do this, which could be true, but there's an easier way, a better way, an inspired action way where like there's no way I would have forced that. For example, there's no way I would have forced that episode to be that good had I just hammered at it. There's no way like that. I had to let go in a way, and allow that to be. And in a way, that's what inspired action is. And I really want to talk about it so we can live where our steps are ordered in a way where we're just being guided by that higher self, and we get to enjoy every moment.
No, I think I definitely think that's dope that you were able to let go. And the funny thing is we had this thought process that when we let go, that it's gone away. But the reality of it is, it was your subconscious mind is always doing its work, especially if you allow it to, and not necessarily let your conscious mind battle it. So I think that's definitely a super dope thing. Now, I think that the thing that comes to my mind when I think about it, when I think about my inspired actions versus my forced action, I think about trying to write a CD and just sitting down and finding a beat just because I like it and just saying, I'm going to make up a song with this before I turn it off. And there have been many times where I can listen to that beat a million times. I can listen to it all day. I can sit down and listen to the same thing all day. And what I want, there's a lot of things that come to me, but what I want never comes. And then I'll end up being frustrated, like, dang, I couldn't even come up with what I was looking for. But the funniest thing is when I take showers, something that I figured out over time, if I just play the music in the background and just get into my shower, I literally would come up with a whole when I finish, but before the time I get out of my shower. And the reason why I bring it up is because when I'm in the shower, I'm not literally trying to make up a song. I'm literally trying to get myself clean. And so just allowing it to play in the background or run in my mind, I've always been able to overcome whatever hurdles that I have that were mental blocks for me because of me just being inspired to do it versus me forcing myself to go ahead and do it.
Yeah. And similar to that, like speaking of writing songs. So I've done the same thing where it's like, I'm gonna write a hit today. Like I'm forcing it. No matter what, I'm not stopping until I write a hit. Nothing's happening. I'm forcing it. It sounds forced. It doesn't sound like good music. But then I had instances where I was just inspired to write a song. And once I was inspired, I set my intention, I'm gonna make this type of song. And then it just flowed through. And so it sounds like it's more important, not necessarily to have a scheduled routine of work or action, but a scheduled routine to make yourself available to receive inspired action. Like you said, the shower, because in the shower, if you're not rushing to be somewhere, you get to relax. Like that's your place. That's your it's just you. You get to just be with your thoughts. You have nice water, going. It's a beautiful experience. But oftentimes we don't allow ourselves to get into beautiful experiences because we're thinking about all the actions that we have to do. And that have to word is not even really real because we're not even doing anything with forced action anyway, except teaching ourselves that we have to force ourselves to do something that we don't really enjoy.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. And the craziest thing about it is, even thinking about the enjoyment part of it, you would think that something that I want to do will bring me. And I think that's the reason why the forced action starts to happen, because you're like, well, I know I'm gonna be happy when I get done with it, versus understanding that, one thing that I love, I'm a basketball head. And I'm pretty sure other careers talk about the same thing as well, but they always say, make sure you love the process of what you're doing. So that way you're not looking for the love in the end and you can really enjoy yourself. And I think that another big piece of when you're inspired to do something, because the million things that we think about doing all the time, we don't always do them when we first think about them, right? So that's the reason why I think that once something is top of mind, you take action, because I would assume that you're enlightened and inspired to do it. And it doesn't mean finish it or do it to its completion. Do it as long as you're into it. Do it as long as you're inspired. And then you can remove yourself once you have something else that, comes to the front, and allow that to lead the way. Because if you free yourself, I feel like when you're supposed to, it still does work for you. It's kind of like what do they call it? I can't think, but you know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. So similarly, like a lot of these things have a spiritual component to it, and something that I've begun to understand is that we do have a higher self. Like we to be in this physical reality, so to speak, there's a part of us that is in that spiritual realm guiding us, but we don't communicate with each other through words. It's more through that feeling, through that action. And when we're in certain situations, it's because our higher self already pre-approved those situations. But sometimes what do? We judge it. We say, oh man, this looks bad. I'm worried now. I'm scared now. Like you're doing all these things where you're adding interference. You're letting fear enter the situation. You're interfering with your communication. So now you can't receive the ease that this situation would have brought. Like, you don't even allow yourself to be inspired because you would be judging everything that happens. But if we can remember that our higher self has done the work, so that no matter what situation we're in, even if like people have 10 guns drawn to us, if you can hold that awareness, like, oh, my higher self pre-approved this situation, this is working out for my highest good, then you can allow yourself to be inspired to do the right actions to get you out of this situation or get you closer to what you really want in the fewest steps possible. Shout out to him, Lau. What's up?
You know, the thing that I think about when you were talking about allowing your higher self to get you out of the situation, it makes me think we listening to, you know, because I also feel like our higher self is continuously talking to us, whether you have opposing thoughts or not. And, you know, it in a situation, I think that we all, well, I guess I can't say that I'm generally always optimistic initially. And then the pessimistic or opposing thoughts start to attack my optimism. I know I might just be making the words, but hey, we're going to roll with it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, like, you know, that's the reason why I say, who are you listening to? And just another quick note on you know, our higher self. Our subconscious mind, dog, is always running. That's the reason why you can see things that you feel like you've never seen before, and then they feel familiar, because you can't turn that thing off. It's always witness. It's the biggest witness you have, and that's another reason why you apply to different situations, Jay.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm drawn to that state. So okay, when I told you what happened between the sleeping and waking state, I kind of went on a research rampage. I was emailing people, asking people about it, and what I got back is like it's that theta state. And so what you said about your subconscious mind, like it's always working, but when you're in that state between sleeping and waking, you dropped your guard. So when you dropped your guard, you're able to hear certain things. So like they say, everyone has all these psychic abilities, but the only reason we don't experience them is because we are not in it, right? Like we put up all these walls through our judgment. We said, oh, that's crazy, that's evil, that's the devil, or that's something else. Nobody should be able to talk to a spirit that's not here. And we put up all these blocks. We have all this fear surrounding it that we don't have access to it. But when you're in between that state between sleeping and waking, you drop that guard and you're able to hear these divine thoughts. Now, depending on the circumstance, you might be able to take action on it or not. Like some experts said, keep a notepad next to your to your bedpost or whatever, so you can write anything down. But it's interesting that our judgments are in a way stopping us from a lot of things.
So Himlao said, I'm going to talk about out of today's topic, but please help me to control my overthinking. This is what I'll say about it, because it's funny, because I'm talking about my subconscious mind and how it's always operating and it's always being the biggest witness, which puts me in the best possible position. But also I'm asking the question of, who are you listening to? And I think that's where overthinking starts to play its biggest role in our life. And the thing that I would say about it is, generally, whenever I'm optimistic, it is literally the way that I really want to go. Like, I can't think of a time I thought that was of me or for me. I just couldn't figure out a way to offset what I was thinking at the time. So the reason why I bring it up, Himlal, is that I would tell you that you're worthy of the best case scenario all the time. You're worthy of whatever you feel like is the best case scenario all the time. And that's me saying that you can have what you want, but those opposing thoughts that are not what you want, you have to set aside. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so I think this is very related to this topic, because it's like we said at the beginning, it's not so much about making yourself do certain actions. It's about getting yourself in a position to receive that inspiration. And overthinking is a block to that. So for example, like somebody might think, oh, I just did this and made $100. So if I do this again, I could make, 100 more, 100 more. But then I'm thinking about how taxing it is. And then I'm thinking about JClay said, hey, you don't got to do all this. And then like all these thoughts, and you're overthinking, where you're either doing inaction or you're not conscious of the action that you're doing now. So it's not really doing its job. And the only way to not overthink is to practice thoughtlessness, which is meditation, which comes in many forms. It can be walking, it can be sitting still, it can be doing a mundane task that you're not listening to any music or anything, like maybe just washing dishes or something. Like it comes in many forms, but anything that allows you to still your mind, because that's when the inspiration really comes. But there's no way around it except to just practice it. Like you may not be successful your first time, or you may be and then unsuccessful your second, third, fourth, fifth time, and then get back to that success. But that's one of the main things that you just have to just practice it.
And I'll say this personally for myself, Himalaya, is that overthinking, I think that we all do it, number one, but for me specifically, it is the most stagnating thing in my life. The thing that stops me from doing everything is overthinking. I have the most elaborate thoughts and ideas. So I can say for my business this week, I'm going to create this. And I'm definite. I know that it's going to work. And then I'll go into a phase where I say, okay, well, I need to make sure I do this, this, and this with that. And then I'll start thinking, okay, well, what if I do this, this, and this? And then I start thinking, what about this, this? And then the next thing I know, 2 weeks have gone by and I haven't done anything. Because number one, I already said that I wanted to do something. I already said it was going to make me feel good. I already said that it was going to work. And then I layered all my thoughts on top of what was definite to me already. And so, like I said, it's for me being the most stagnating thing. And like, again, there's a piece to this when we're talking about the forced versus inspired. I think that the thinking part of it becomes the forced action after a while. And so what the reason why I say that is because I'm forcing myself to think of a better way, as if the way that I initially felt was not good enough. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because it's twofold. Like, so sometimes we'll get caught in a routine of we think we're doing something. Like we say, I'm gonna do this every single day without fail, no matter what. And in some instances, that could be the thing to do if you're inspired from that. And that's the key word. Like you have to have that inspiration for it. But sometimes you could be going through the most. Like, I'm gonna do this every day, but I hate it. I hate doing this every single day. And then so what ends up happening to it is, in a way, you become a slave to it, because if you've made yourself believe that if you don't do it, you will somehow sabotage yourself. And then that ends up happening, not because you didn't do it, but because you made that association with your mind because of how powerful your mind is. And so to kind of remove that guilt from you, it's almost very beneficial to listen to your higher self, because whenever you need certain advice, who do you go to? You go to the one that is best suited to give you that particular advice. And sometimes your inspiration will guide you to a person on this earth plane that does have that advice. But again, we need to be mindful of, am I doing this because I genuinely feel inspired to do it? Or am I doing it because that's what the whole world says I have to do, and this is the only way, and I feel bad if I don't do it?
The funny thing that it made me think of when you just said that, number one, go to your higher self, go to the one. But there have been many instances in my life, not myself specifically, but just people around me. And I want to say that it's been the same for me as well, where, they went to the doctor and the doctor told them something was wrong. And in that moment, they were like, well, they didn't tell the doctor this, but they were like, I don't think it got to be something else. Like, I just know that it's something else. What the doctor's telling me, I just know that it's something else. And the reason why I point that out is because nobody has a better answer for you than you. That's my personal opinion. I think that the problem is that number one, overthinking psychs us out of what we know. But the other part to the point that you were making was the thoughtlessness, meaning, you know, the lack of, I mean, the freeing your mind. And the reason why I say that is because how can you better find out more about yourself than when you stop judging it? And I just, you know, I just want to say that, and I want to read what Him Loud says as well. He says, I was talking with a girl for about 15 to 20 days. I found she was on a breakup. I was so obsessed with her. I helped her to move on, but later on, I found she back with her ex eventually. But I had a high expectations with her. I asked her out, but she ended up our relationship as friends. But I think her a lot. I think about her a lot. But why am I being crazy? I only talked to her for 20 days. Look, this is look, I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. We like who we like. It's just, that's just point blank, period. And you know, the funniest thing, I gotta tell I talked to my son about this recently. I told him that it doesn't matter if somebody likes you, it's okay for you to like them, and it's okay for you to let them know, and it's okay for them to not like you back the way that you like them, but that shouldn't change how you feel. Now, when you're talking about dating, that's a whole different story. But I think that you feeling crazy over somebody is a cool thing, because it's you being able to express yourself in the way that you feel like best way, so that way you can move past it. And also just by you being a good human being to help her get her something that she wasn't able to get past, whether you help them get back together or not. Less, like, that to me, I think that's an inspired action when we talk about our show. Like, the outcome of it didn't dictate your actions in the moment. You did them because you felt like it was the right thing to do. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, whether you end up with this person or not, you can look back at yourself and feel proud that you were being who you wanted to be. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. We had a show not too long ago. We talked about intention versus expectation, and you mentioned him, Lyle, about you had an expectation with her. Like, we can't have expectations because it's no way to know it. We would have to be able to control every aspect of everything, and it's best to just have the intention. Like, you intend to maybe get with her if she is feeling you back, but if not, I mean, like Troy said, it's so much good and love out there. Like, how do I say this? We are made of love, by love, for love, and we can still love others even if they don't feel the way back. Like Troy said, it shouldn't change how you change. Like there's so many people online that I'll never meet that they've helped me in so many ways that they'll never know. And I'm greatly, not indebted is not the right word, but I'm very appreciative of them. But they'll just never know because I don't have a direct line of communication with them or anything. But that them not being able to communicate back with me in the same way does not change any of that. About my feelings toward them. And I say just enjoy it. Like take those feelings where it takes you. Like, if you're inspired to do something else or speak with somebody else, or like, but nothing that infringes on anyone else's rights, if that makes sense. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and just kind of, you know, come back to your last statement. You said, I can't control my feelings, guys. That's why I'm overthinking. And again, I would tell you, don't control your feelings. Like, it's okay for you to have all the feelings that you're having. It's just, there's no wrong with that. I think that, you know, the big piece of it. And I loved when you were talking about the expectations again, Jay. Like, when you were talking about controlling all aspects, like, I just bring it back to me. I know that I can control all aspects of me, though I don't always control all aspects of me. And that's frustrating. And if I know that I haven't learned to control or expectations of myself, how could I ever expect anything from anyone else? That's number one. But go ahead, Jay.
Well, I was gonna say to that, I don't even know if I can control myself in every situation. Like, because I'm different people from moment to moment, at least from my perspective. It's like, man, like our feelings are our way of our higher self talking to it. That is that inspired act. or like certain feelings invoke certain actions that we're tied to or drawn to. And again, we can follow that in such a way that it's positive for us. Like you said, don't judge it, don't try to control it. Just be in that space and see what it brings to you.
And so that's both of us. And that's the point that I'm making. If I can't control or have a true, I mean, I can expect whatever I want to, but the reality of it is I cannot control the expectations for myself or the outcome for myself. How could I possibly ever do that for somebody outside of me? You get what I'm saying? And so him now, and that's what I'm saying. Like, your feelings, fam, I know your feelings inspire action, but you're also wanting results at the time. Our action was, let me help this person get past it. And what I'm telling you is that's what it should have been. But the outcome of what that turned into, we can never judge. We can never determine, because the reality of it is, if I can give the most best case scenario hypothetical situation, right? This person does not feel the same way that you feel right now. But what they get to do is witness you be the bigger person and help them. And then later down the line, fall deeply in love with you because you were the person that was always there. Again, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm not telling you to expect that's going to happen. But what I'm telling you is you're expecting things that you don't even understand the greater picture of how it's supposed to operate or how it's supposed to work. This person could actually have a twin sister or anything and bring them your way. So I just tell you that however you, first of all, salutes to you for coming on the show and saying that you were crazy about it. That's letting me know that you're willing to express and be who you are, but don't let it be a deciding factor on what you think about yourself. Not crazy. It's okay for you to feel the way you feel. And regardless of how she feels, it's okay for you to express how you feel, but keep it moving. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. And I've been amazed by the results of these inspired actions. Like the inspired action that I've been taking, just putting myself in full force, like all the way. It's had some profound effects. Now, I've never expected any of this. I'm just amazed to see what comes of it. Like sometimes it might not be anything right away, but then a lot of times it might change the direction of my life out of nowhere. And similar to that, like there's inspired inaction. And what I mean is, yeah, like we all have a to-do list. We all have stuff that is like, man, I gotta do this. But you have this inspiration from your higher self or whatever. Like you just feel this strong feeling like, no, I gotta work on this now. I gotta do this now. I gotta go to this place right now because I feel this overwhelming feeling. And when you do it, like one, it's a relationship. You're letting your higher self, your higher consciousness know, like, I trust you. I trust you. Keep sending me, keep guiding me because I appreciate this feeling that I'm in. And so it makes it easier to have that communication. And so when you do take the action that you put off because you had more inspired action to do, it's at the perfect time. And that also comes with positive results, positive effects as well. So it's all pretty cool.
Oh, my bad, Jay. So I'll read. He said, I knew she doesn't deserve my tears, but I cried, sir. My feelings were genuine, but is it good? I only talked to her for 20 days. So let me tell you about me real quick. My wife, I moved in with my wife. Well, first of all, I dated my wife for a month. 1 month, fam. I moved in with my wife after that month. She got pregnant in month 2. I never expected anything. I never knew how it was going to go. What I was doing was I was just being me, the best that I possibly could be. It's okay for you to be sad or cry or, get your feelings out in any kind of way that you feel is necessary. And that's the thing. I think the problem here is that you're judging yourself, but you're giving yourself a time frame of how long you got to be with somebody to care about them. You're giving yourself a time frame of how long you got to be with somebody before you're sad, before they go away. And all of these things are, you're saying, well, I'm bad for this, but I'm telling you that you're good for it, because to allow yourself to love somebody in 20 days just means you allowed yourself to be free. If you're going to give yourself credit or ding yourself, just give yourself credit. You were the way that we should be as people. We should be loving in all aspects. I'm not a big crier, but at the end of the day, if something hurts your feelings, then you should be able to express that and not judge yourself for, like, look, people, fam, that I watch a TV show that I never met in my life. And if the story is compelling enough, I cry, and I never knew them. And so it's okay. You know, I can't judge the way that you feel based off of whatever constructs the society has made us feel like. In the very beginning of me and my marriage, people would always tell us, dang, you was only with her for this long and y'all had this baby. But for me, I never allowed that into my psyche because I knew that it didn't matter. So I just caution you to judge yourself on things that you shouldn't even judge yourself on. You are a grown up and you can feel and do however you want to do. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and I would say too, yeah, laugh when it's time to laugh, cry when it's time to cry, but not even time when you have it, when you have that inspired action to do it, like it's what's for you. Like Troy said, like it's no reason to apologize for anything that you want to do. It's you. Like this is your experience. And you even said, like you said, like, you know, she doesn't deserve my tears. Like we can't be judges of who deserves what, who doesn't deserve what, because again, we would have to know everything about everything, which we can never do. So it's not even about deserving anything. Like you have an experience you want to experience. You have this situation is getting you closer to everything you want because you are spending time in those feelings. Like some people might numb those feelings completely and be like, no, I'm not going to do this. But that kind of blocks that. You don't want to block anything. You want to allow. You want to, like you're saying, my higher self pre-approved this. God pre-approved this situation. So I'm stepping into it with that knowledge. And yeah, I might feel something, but it's meant for me to feel this, and that's okay.
Hey, bro, I got to tell you, this is just a thought in my head because we're talking about the inspired actions. And I want to talk about the inspired action of crying, right? Just because it's a part of, you know, the topic right now. But there have been plenty times where I was, I ain't going to cry now. You got me messed up. I'm too hard for this crying, baby. You know, I wasn't trying to let it go. And the thing that I could think about in my mind when I just look, if I'm out of my body and looking back at myself, I can see my eyes watery, me fighting it, saying, no, it ain't going to happen. And the amount of tenseness that I have in those moments, the amount of controlled, out of controlness that I feel in those moments, right? And then I can also go and look at the time, right, real talk. I can go and look at the times where I decided, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let the tears go, right? And in the moment, I can't tell you that I feel relieved. I can't tell you that I feel free. I can't tell you. And again, I'm crying about a movie or something, right? But when I look back at myself, I feel happy. I feel happy that I was not blocked up. You know what I'm saying? And again, I know in the moment, him loud, you know, the tears feel a little different, fam. But if you, there is a such thing of holding it in, like JClay said. And I think that is a forced action. And I think the forced actions are the things that make us more miserable. You know, normally when we were growing up, somebody would tell you, cry, get it over with, you know, get it on out, get that out, let that go. So yeah, you know, I just know that whenever I've been able to just let it go and I look back at myself, I feel free. I feel light. I feel love. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Jay.
I was thinking, can we truly even really hold anything in? And what I mean is like when we feeling joyful, people can just see the joy on you. Like you could just see it. Like it's one of those things. And okay, you know, the type of music that I used to make before versus to the type of music I make now, in my eyes, is very different. You know, it's more positive, it's more spiritual, all of these things. But again, nobody was surprised by this move for me. Nobody. And because I was like, how are people gonna react to me now coming out making this type of music? And I say that to say that it's almost like people were waiting for me to make this type of music. Like they knew, like, oh yeah, we were just waiting on you to just finish doing what you were doing. But you can say that about everybody and everything. Like we see people's higher selves. We understand you're gonna go through things, but that's just to get this out because you can't hide anything anyway. You might as well be who you are all the time.
Bro, when you talk about the outside, seeing everybody always sees other people's higher self. That's the reason why we're always appalled. Like when somebody's going through somebody hypothetical situation like a breakup, the person would tell that person, oh, you deserve better than that. Like, we always looking for the up, or it's the reason why you sometimes feel like you can't do something, and somebody around you will be like, bro, I knew you had that, or of course you got that, or they will tell you that you can do it, or even sometimes I'm going to use singing as an example. Sometimes based off of the rest of the world, you may not be able to sing, right? Based off what we're customarily used to, you don't stand up to that based off of that only. But you will have people in your corner saying, nah, you be jamming, you go hard, you the best. And the reality of it is, fam, that's all we can ever see. That's all we ever see. And we just are not agreeable to it because we're at odds with ourselves. We're more focused on the forced action versus inspired. Like, that's supposed to inspire you. But yet and still, I would come back and say, well, I think I should do this because of this. And that's where we get it all mixed up. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. And Himlao said, thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you so much. But I think I'm never gonna like anyone like her. And that's cool. I mean, if that's what happens, that's what happens. If that's what doesn't happen, that's what doesn't happen. Like, it's even liking it's a giving action. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be reciprocal. We all like what we like. We all like who we like. We all love who we love. We all love what we love. And it's the act of liking and loving is a very beautiful thing, as long as we're not tying expectations to it. We could, like, that is an inspired action in itself, because it can lead us to want to be better. Like, yeah, I want to be better so I can be more in tune or on the same frequency with the things that I love or the people that I love. So I say use it.
And this is what I would caution you to. Number one, I'm gonna tell you off top, love, fam. Be sad, be happy, just allow yourself to be what you are. But I would tell you, when you say I would never want like her again, I don't think that you even knew that you were gonna like her like that. And that's the funny way that life is, especially when you're allowing yourself to be. If you have love in your heart, bro, you're always gonna be able to love again. It's just kind of how it goes, I feel like. And I think that, just again, I don't know you, but I do know that you had an inspired action to help somebody that was in need. They went through something, and you were the person that stepped up. Along the way, you developed some type of expectation. But even outside of your expectation, you still were helping her, because in the moment when you were helping, you weren't getting what you expected. You just still decided to be a good person, whether you were looking for an outcome or not. There's a lot of people that want something, but they don't always help. And then not only that, this person is thankful for you being there. And I think it made you feel good. And all that tied together, love just kind of happened. Well, you are you, man. You are you. And you might not decide that you want to like anybody, but I think that if you continue to be who you are, you will fall right into the right boat again. And I think that it's going to be, whenever it happens, it's going to be everything that you always expected. So, just remember the higher version of yourself always. Go ahead, Jay.
I love that you said that you probably didn't expect to like her in the way that you did. And that's what life, like when we're not so tied to the past and we're free to just be in this moment, our higher self, God, brings us all kinds of things that we never expected to like or never expected to love in every moment. And we just like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't know I would enjoy this. And then we get caught in our thoughts. We try to force the action again. We try to force recreation. We say, I want to recreate these same circumstances because I had so much fun this particular time. I don't trust my higher self enough anymore. I want to do it myself now. So I'm gonna force this reaction. And you're like, oh, it's not the same. Why is it not the same? It's because we're trying to force it instead of just allowing. Just allow things to be and trust. Like, you will see it all unfold beautifully in a way that you could have never dreamed of or even crafted it if you were the crafter of it yourself.
So I would come back and ask, well, let me read with him, Lester, because I want to make sure we can continue to acknowledge, since you're involved with us, we appreciate you. Said it feels like a heavy rock in my chest. And again, I know it sounds crazy for me to tell you that that's okay right now when it feels like that, but the judgment of thinking that we don't go through things, again, is another thing that I would just caution you to do. It's okay. Like whenever when I'm walking around my house and I kick and stub my toe, it hurt. It hurt and it just don't go. But the thing is, I've learned something new. I learned how to walk around my house more efficiently. You know, I can take the good with what happened. And as much as I don't want my foot to hurt, it doesn't mean that it was bad for it. Bro, your heart gets stronger. That's all I can do. And again, it's all based off of you being the great person that you were in the first place. And that's just kind of how I would leave that. And you know, back to the inspired action part of it, you know, we talked about this before on the show, that when something is at the top of your mind, why not move? You know, why not allow that to be like, you got a million thoughts and one thing came to the top of your mind to do. And that could just be watch TV, no matter what it is. But I think that's where our greatest joy lies. And you know, just I try to push people to recognize that, listen to yourself, so that way you can move accordingly. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have seen that play out, like you said, like it could be watch TV, something that people think wastes time, but like your inspired action, as long as you don't judge it, it can be anything at all, which could only be for a second, just to flip to a channel. Well, I know nobody really flips to channels anymore, but like to get you to look at something that sparks something else, like, oh yeah, I got time right now, I can do this now, I can work on this now, and you get excited. Even yesterday, I was working on something that I had not worked on in a long time. The day flew by. It was the perfect day. I was so grateful for yesterday. And now I'm grateful for today, like that we get to speak about this topic and break it down, because sometimes I don't always remember. Sometimes I'm forcing myself into action, into routine, just because I think it's better, just because I think I need to be active. That active means something good, but it's not necessarily the case. Inspired action is the best thing you could do for yourself.
Bro, listen to me. You said something. And I truly believe there's a domino effect always, or chain reaction, or however you want to look at it, that happens within us. And so that's where the inspired action can really play a big role, because there are things that I want to do that I will try to force myself to do, and there's things that are top of my mind. But when I say there's a domino effect, sometimes the thing that you decide to do that's an inspired action is tied to the thing that you want to do, whether you can see them or not, yes, whether you recognize it or not. Sometimes it's literally giving you the pathway, but because you're looking beyond your inspired action, you can't get there, and then you wonder why it's forced. And again, I'm going to go back to me making music. I know that I want to make songs. I know it. I will sit down, bro, and I will try. And there are other things that have come top of my mind, which is the reason why the song is not coming. I'm supposed to go take a shower. I'm supposed to go help my kids shoot. I'm supposed to go, like, all of these things that I want to do right now. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hammer this in. I'm going to make this happen. But the funny thing, bro, just last night, I can't even lie to you, we were getting ready to, no, it wasn't last night. It was Friday night. I was getting ready to go to a party, and I wanted to write. I then couldn't write. I also didn't want to go to the party either, right? But it was because of other people that I wanted to go to support. Bam, right? The moment I started getting ready for the party, bro, like I'm getting ready, brushing my teeth, you know, all this kind of stuff, the song came to me. It came, and I literally went in the living room and I was like, Chardonnay, I literally just made up the song in the first part of my verse because it just came. And it was tied to the party. That's the funny thing about it. Like, if you hear the words to the song, like, it's tied to me going to do something that I wasn't ready to do. And it's amazing how life can play itself. It made it so difficult. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. So, like, again, you went to that state where you surrendered to the moment. Like, sometimes when people have free time or something, I got to make the most of this moment. I got to conquer the moment. I got to win. And it's a different energy than surrendering to it, or allowing it to be, letting go. And because you accepted that, okay, I'm going to go to this party, I won't be able to work on the song now. I've accepted that. I'll work on it later. And you're just doing those mundane tasks, like, you know, getting ready, brushing your teeth. you didn't have that guard up, you didn't have that resistance, and it allowed it to come. So like, again, the more we can allow ourselves to be in that state, the better. And it really doesn't even take long to get into. You know, it could be meditation, it could be whatever. Like sometimes when I sit to meditate for a particular time, like if okay, put it like this. If right now I just went to meditate just for no set time, I might not have certain ideas that come into me. But let's say I say I'm gonna sit down for 15 minutes because I have to surrender to the fact that I'm gonna be just sitting there for 15 minutes. A flood of ideas come. Like, and I don't even know how to explain it. That it's like, oh my God, this is crazy. I want to get up right now, but I already surrendered to, you know, being in this place for 15 minutes. So it's interesting how it all works, and it's all a play in our mind too when you think about it. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to read what Himlao said again. It says, "Yeah, I really tried my best to distract myself, and I do have some advice for you, real quick. This is gonna be my advice to you. I want you to write down 10 things that you love, not 10 things that you love more than her. I just want you to write down 10 things that you love, and the reason why I'm telling you that is because I assume when you tell me how you felt about this person, you love this person too." But I think love, and Troy thinks love is all this, right? So write down 10 things that you love. And every single time you think about her, do something that you love. You'll know exactly what they are. And my hopes for you, what's going to happen, because you can never predict. But I just think personally for myself, when I'm doing things that I love, because there's a lot of things that I love, I don't think about I just don't. Whenever I'm making, like when I'm really into making music, there's nothing around me that could come into my side and distract that. Whenever me and JClay was out selling CDs, hustling, like I was in love with that process. Time flew. I didn't even have to eat because I was so enthralled in the thing that I love. And I just challenge you to write down 10 things. And every single time you think of her, just do something that you love to do and allow that to lead you. Hopefully it inspires other actions or unlocks other doors to help you to move beyond that. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. And this is the cool thing about this whole situation, right? So we give meaning. I say this all the time. We give meaning to everything in the world. Like this podcast means something to me. It's something that I associated with myself. Like you can't make it mean something. I have to. We all do this for ourselves. So everybody we're interacting with, we're not even really interacting with them. We're interacting with our idea of them. And so you loving this woman, you're actually seeing a part of yourself. Like you're loving who you get to be, the idea of who you get to be with her or around her. And so even if you can even realize that it's still you that you're loving, like you're worthy of this love, I feel like that can help you too, because there's no separation between us and what we interact with. Because again, we are the filters of everything. We are the ones giving meaning to it all. So you're seeing this other aspect of yourself that is worthy of love, that you get to express, that you get to feel. And again, that's why I say feel it. Like however it feels, whatever form it comes in, just be in it. Like don't try to force it. Don't try to distract yourself away. Just surrender to it, and you will be guided for the rest.
Man, when I tell you that you hit that the perfect words, and this is not just for him now, this is all of us. We're loving who we get to be, or who we think we get to be when we're with that person or that thing. And the reason why I had to bring that back is because forced action is just that. We're in love with the thoughts of who we think or what we think we're going to, where we think we're going to be at once this action is done. And man, you hit that, bro. Like you hit the nail on the head with that. And if you're going to define things, that's what I said earlier. If I'm going to be able to give something a positive or a negative, and again, this is just based off of me, why am I not going to say that whenever I'm around JClay, which is the reason why me and him go hard, like the reason why I think that me and him are so tight together, we have such of a connection, is because my own thought process, I don't know what JClay, honestly, other than if we literally voice it to each other, but my own thought process is, man, we are a hybrid. Together we go hard. And the reason why I know JClay is shaking his head, because I know that he's heard me say this a million times. My own thought process is, with this person, I go hard. So when I'm around him, it doesn't matter how he acts or what he does, I'm always good. It's the same thing in a relationship or when you're with your friends. When you're going out, if you're going out with a group of people, you can literally say, "Oh, we go hard tonight." And when you go hard, everything around you, like you will feel that energy. You're setting the stage for yourself of what it's supposed to be. So, bro, you hit the nail on the head with that, and I just love the fact that you said loving who we think or what we think. Go.
And it's funny because again, it works the other way. Like you could be going out with a group of people, and you're like, it's gonna suck because so and so gonna be there. And what happens? Because again, you gave meaning to it. That's what's gonna play out. Instead of surrendering and saying, "Hey, even though me and this person might not have got along before, I don't know what this means. This could be something new. This could be a new opportunity. I surrender to the moment. I'm gonna allow whatever to be." And when you do that, again, it changes things drastically.
So I'm gonna bring something back to inspired action based off of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Why not, when you have the inspired action, to bring intentionality to it, define every way that you would like it to be. So I'm inspired to write right now, and I can say, man, I'm finna write. This is finna open up all the doors to everything else that I was looking for. And then just write, you know what I mean? But if I'm inspired to write, of course, right? Like having that positive definition of everything to come. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, right. But no forced expectation, like no expectations, right? Like a general expectation. That's cool because it's like the details can be whatever. And I'm with you there. Like you get to define it that way. Like every time I write, it does something good for me. And it can, like, even like you can instantly receive that, and that's just enough to have that after effect, that ripple effect.
You know, the reason why I know this to be true is because throughout the years that we've been working out and stuff, I've literally said over and over again, at the end of the run, I feel so good. I've said that, right? And the funny thing is, often do you hear me say, in the middle of my run or when I run, I feel great. And that's a definition. Like I'm defining that at the end, this is how I feel, when I can really say that anytime. Yeah. Shout out to Betty from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Guadagno, I got it.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of it all. Like, we really don't have to do anything because when we take that approach, we're going to be inspired to do everything. And it's when you had that inspired action, you just do it differently. Like you do it a lot differently than that forced action. Even if you got a day job, like if somebody like, you got to do this way, like this, you're not happy about it, it's not going to be no love and joy in it. So the results won't have love and joy in it. But if like you have just an inspired idea, even at work, and you like, ooh, I'm gonna work on this, I'm not gonna tell nobody. Like it will have positive effects. Not even if you were recognized for it. Just you know that you're capable of these things now because you followed this action.
Again, just practical explanation, bro. Just you and me alone. Many times going out to the club, we was like, I don't really want to do this, and it was not what we wanted. And there's been times when we were like, oh, we turning up today, and we went and we had the most. Again, the expectation of what really is going to happen, we had no clue how it was going to turn out. But because we've defined ourselves, he might have said it and I might have said it to myself. He might have said, man, this is going to be turned up, and it transferred to me. And I was like, man, this is going to turn up. So we both had that same belief. When we got there, I don't know, we turned it up. We turned it up because we said how it was going to be. Our intentions were not ours. It was inspired, and it's just one of those beautiful things, bro. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I agree. We were inspired just because of what we set for each other, like that intention that we set. That like, okay, cool, this is gonna be what it is. And even when we didn't want to go to the club, we surrendered to the moment that, okay, we're going. There's nothing we can do about it. Guide us in a sense, you know, like
real talk, though.
We're gonna be searching for opportunities to make this fun, and it's not often people do that. Like sometimes people like, I'm not gonna have fun no matter what. I'll prove to you so much that this is not fun that I won't have fun. Like, and it's like you're doing yourself a disservice when you can just let go.
Again, I know we're saying let go, bro, but I love the fact of looking for fun. And the reason why I say that is because the way that I look at it is I don't even say looking for fun in my mind. I say looking for myself, because there is a version of me that I want to see in all instances, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like whenever I show up to the club, there is something that could make me happy. There's something of me there, but I can literally be shut out from it. And that's a forced action. That, like, being shut off is forced. That is forced. That's the reason why I salute him loud for crying, because you can shut yourself off. You can cut. It's not of you. So, you know, I salute you on that, man. It's real good that you were able to be yourself. Go ahead, Jay.
And I'm so grateful though that I learned that lesson as a young kid with my sisters. Like they might do something to me before I went to bed or something. I'm mad. I'm sad. I'm like, man, I'm never gonna forgive them or something like that. But then the next day, they might have an inspired action idea that it's like, dang, I can stay being mad at them, or I can just have, you know, fun right now. It's like, dang, I'm gonna have fun. You're forgiven. And it's because, again, like, you surrender to the moment. And we all have experiences like that. We've done this as a kid. It's just something in us as adults. We allow society to teach us that, like, no, you can't forgive people. You have to always be mad and hold this grudge and do this. And that's not the case. So yeah. And shout out to him. He said, I loved her, sir. I really loved her. Love does not have to be a past tense. Love her. Even if she's not with you, you can still love her. Like, you get to love, which is a privilege and is beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I told TJ the same thing. Like, bro, you can like whoever you want to like her. I mean, it's fine. Just don't have expectations. But why is your, like, in my mind, and this is what I try to tell him, whenever I think about love, I think about being happy. That's just me. So just be happy. Like, if you're in love, like, if she don't want to love you, then I don't want to say that she's missing out on anything. But if I'm going to give you something, she's missing out on the love that she could be having as well. And that's just kind of how it goes.
That's on her.
That's on her. But you being in love, like, look, I love a lot of people, but I don't love them romantically. And I don't have an expectation for them. But I just love them. And guess what? If they love me back, I get to be happy myself. Man, I love Clay. Man, I love Betty. Man, I love them. They love me back, cool for them. But if they don't, that's their fault. They don't love me. That don't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's okay. It's okay. It is really okay. And I understand the sentiment of wanting to be loved back romantically in that way. But guess what? Everybody got to find that in their time, because it could have been a time with this person. You just don't know that they were with this person and they were in love with you and they were with that person because they couldn't have you. We don't know, you know, if it's not truly expressed. So just be okay with your love and your sadness and your crying and it all, because you are the number one and the most important thing. You deserve to be able to feel all emotions. Go ahead, Jay.
And just to start wrapping things up, the most important thing that you can do for yourself is getting yourself in a state where you can allow yourself to receive inspired action. And again, it's almost a state of thoughtlessness where you calm your mind, still your mind, and you don't have to do anything elaborate to do that. Like, you don't have to sit still and meditate unless you want to. You could be taking a shower, you're going for a walk. It could just be just sitting still, relaxing, like anything for that. But especially if you have something that you need to do, like something like, man, I feel like I'm stuck, I need to do this. Don't figure out a solution. Figure out a way to get into that state to receive the inspired action, and the solution will come to you. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna say this. I know we got to get out of here. This is how Troy figures out his inspired actions versus his forced actions. If I think that I want to do something, and then the moment I decide that I'm gonna do it, I don't want to do it, that's not something that I'm inspired to do. I'm just letting you know. It's simple, because there are things that come to the top of my mind because I'm forcing myself to overthink. And if I decide, okay, this is the top of my mind and I don't want to do it, it's not inspired. But I'll tell y'all, man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this conversation. I'm grateful for my boy Jay. grateful to be here because without y'all, we wouldn't be doing this. We'd be doing something, but we definitely would be here. But thank y'all for helping us realize our perfection as well. So, Jay, you can go ahead and take us out, brother.
Yeah, appreciate y'all again. If you found this helpful, hit that share button, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out our Patreon. It's dope. We got shirts coming, some more shirts coming. But anyway, appreciate all y'all. And remember, you're a perfect creation made by a perfect creator. So you might as well accept your perfection and enter perfect mode.
Yeah.
If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to perfect mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm JClay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect. Perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode. Everything, anything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode. Perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode.
Perfect.